Hello, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Yasmin and today we'll work through a yoga sequence for the entirety of the body with a little bit of a focus on the core, both muscles on the front and back, all those muscles that work together to help us stabilise the spine. So we're going to start on all fours. Let's make ourselves comfortable, set yourselves up, maybe with a mat, maybe without. You don't need anything else. Bring yourselves over, get comfortable. And then when you're there, set yourselves up with your fingers spread nice and wide, the tops of the feet relaxed down on the ground and the spine long. We'll just begin with some cat-cow movements to warm up the spine. So the elbows are slightly soft. As you inhale, think about the chest pressing forward, the collarbone, sternum reaches forward. And as you exhale, we round through the spine. We start to float that movement all the way up the back towards the shoulders and the chin tucks in towards the chest. Now let's make that movement nice and slow. So as you inhale, elbows soften, lift and lengthen, pressing forward with the chest. And as you exhale, start the movement from the pelvis and then roll all the way up towards the top of the spine. Let's do a few more of those. Inhale, bring it forward. And exhale, take it back. Try and make that movement as floaty as you can. Try avoid any jagged edges. And let's try that just twice more. Last one. And then when you're back at center, let's try straighten out through the spine. We're going to take a bit of movement into the side body. Again, just ease yourselves in, no pressure, no rush here. Let's begin to take the rib cage to the right. So you're thinking about just shifting the weight very slightly. I press my rib cage out to the right. And then when you're here, I want you to think about keeping that energetic press through the rib cage as you begin to soften the left elbow. Think about the elbow drawing down towards the ground. Now it might not reach the floor, but we're just gradually easing and extending through the side body. Try for your length here. Hold it there. Adjust anything that needs adjusting, make sure you're comfortable. And then let's try the other side. So we rise up, spine to center, press the rib cage to the left, and then we bend down with that right elbow. Keep extending out to the side, feel long all the way down the left-hand side of your body. And then bring yourselves back to center. Now we're going to go for some circular movements now, so taking the movement a bit more into the hips. For this one I like maybe just a tiny bit more space through the knees, and sometimes I like the hands just a little tiny bit further forward so I've got more movement. You're going to imagine drawing a circular motion with your hips. Doesn't matter if the elbows get involved or if the arms stay straight. So you're going to think about the hips dropping to one edge, hips dropping forward, and then all the way across and back. So just embrace that movement. Let's try take it in both directions. No rush. Adjust anything that feels uncomfortable. Make it work for your body today. Make sure you're nice and even, so you're traveling in both directions. And then when you're ready, ease yourselves all the way back to center. And set yourselves up for all fours. So again, for this one I like my knees just a tiny bit wider, but it depends on what feels comfortable for your pelvis, so feel free to adjust if it's not working for you and you want the knees closer. From where you are, we're going to take some circular motions through the shoulder. Let's ground down through your left hand to begin with. So we're fully supported with the left. As you inhale, reach your right hand nice and high, open the chest, lift your gaze. As you exhale, float that shoulder back down. Let the arm move in its natural rotation as you inhale. Maybe the palm opens, the gaze lifts, and as you exhale, close that circle. Inhale, palm open. Exhale, close. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Now slightly different. Inhale, reach the hand high, open the palm, and we're going to think about taking a bind here. So as you exhale, I turn my palm to face away, so it feels like a strange rotation through the wrist, and I float that arm all the way to my back. Think about touching the top of your left hip. Maybe the hands flow all the way round to meet the left thigh, depending on your flexibility through the shoulder. So we're thinking about the hand taking grip. Here's where the pelvis comes in. So I mentioned to you earlier about having the hips wide. I like to adjust just very slightly to the side. That doesn't work for all spines, so just listen to what's right for yours and then really press. So you're thinking about that right shoulder opening towards the ceiling, the gaze lifting up, strong through the left arm. Hold it there. Tune back into the breath. And then nice and slow, release. Float the hand down. Have a little check-in, have a wiggle, maybe side to side, maybe up and down. And then we're going to do that same movement on the second side. So just set yourselves up, adjust. And then from where you are, we're going to think about taking the weight to the right. Inhale, lift the left arm, lift your gaze. Exhale, bring it back down. Think about inhaling, lift. Open the shoulder, exhale, close that circle. Inhale, exhale. Last one, inhale, and exhale. Now this one's different. Inhale, reach, lift up. And as you exhale, we're going to turn the palm into what feels a real awkward rotation so that the palm faces upwards when it rests on your right hip. Maybe the hands reach all the way around towards the right thigh. Maybe they don't quite reach, that's fine too. From where you are, adjust the hips as much as you need. Press that left shoulder up and open, lift your gaze. Hold it there. Strong through the right arm. One more breath. And release. Unravel, place the palm down. This time take it straight to puppy, so bum stays high, arms glide forward, forehead rests. Try and keep your elbows off the ground, so you're starting to stretch into the shoulders, into the pecs. And then straight away, let's take it to the side body. Walk the hands across to the right. Hands can be separate or together. Allow the head to rest down in between. Press the belly back. Open up the shoulders. Lengthen that left hand side of the body. Left hand side of the waist. And then we'll think about evening you out. Take your time, rise up. Switch. Hands come all the way across to the left. Sink the weight down, hands can be separate or together, either is good. Relax the head. Feel the length all the way down the right hand side of the length of the waist, of the trunk. And release, bring it back. Ease yourselves up, find all fours. Have a little check-in, wrists, shoulders, cat-cow. And then let's work into downward facing dog. Tuck toes, hover those knees, pull the belly in, find a core connection, and then extend. Hips go high, heels pad down. Find yourself some length down the backs of the legs for the first time here. Let your head be heavy. Try relax a touch through the shoulders, create space by the ears. And see if you can slow your breath right down. And then nice and gently, taking time to bend through the knees, to shift your gaze towards your hands. As you inhale, step or hop, feet to the front of the mat. Whoop. As you exhale, forward fold. Let your knees bend, let your belly rest on your thighs. A true forward fold, top half of the body touching the bottom. Allow the head to be heavy. Try turn your head from side to side. And then find a softness, bring the head back to still. Uncurl, let your head be the last to lift. Nice and slow, no rush. When you're up, step your feet hip distance, ground down through the feet, and then notice your posture. Lengthen your spine, relax your shoulders. Take a few half circles through the head, through the neck. Try soften any tension, any tightness. And then ease yourselves back to still. Let's take a bend through the knees. Inhale, sweep those hands high, reaching nice and tall. And as you exhale, knees soften, float down. Find a forward fold. Let's go again. Inhale, sweep, lift and lengthen, rise up, look to the palms. Exhale, float down. Now maybe this time the legs are longer. Inhale, rise. And as you float down, keep the legs straightish. Slightly different this time. I'd like you to try and lengthen through the legs. It really doesn't matter where your hands land here. As you inhale, lengthen your back. Find a straight line from your hips to your shoulders. And then as you exhale, bend and fold. As you inhale, lengthen legs, lengthen gaze, hands can rest on shins or floor. Exhale, soften, fold. Last one, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Now this time, bend the knees, get your palms flat to the floor. As you inhale, step or hop, take it to plank. And as you exhale, press those heels away, pull your belly in. Notice your shoulder blades here. Rather than collapsed, press the earth away from you, pull the belly in. Spread the fingers, one more breath. And then when you're ready, lower your knees. Now make sure the hips stay forward, so we're in this pelvic tilt, anterior pelvic tilt. Tops of the feet rest down. We're going to lower down to our belly by bending through the elbows. Keep the elbows hugging alongside the body, so rather than out wide, creases are forward, elbows bend. Glide your way down. Keep the spine straight, so hopefully everything reaches the ground at the same time. When you're down, adjust, set yourselves up on your mat, hands under shoulders, feet nice and wide, give your back some space, and then we're going to glide forwards into a Sphinx pose. So we slide the elbows further forward. Option to have your elbows as wide as the mat here, or a little bit closer towards you. Pressing down through the shoulders, lift your sternum, lift your chest, look forward. Now we're going to hold it here. This is too strong. Elbows wider will make this softer. If you wanted to make it a little bit more intense, you could bring those elbows underneath the shoulders. Pressing down through the pelvis, lifting through the chest, lifting the gaze, and again, rather than relax through the shoulders, there's a real press of the earth. So you press through the forearms to lift yourself away from the ground. And then from this lifted posture, Sphinx, we take the gaze over the shoulder. So think about looking over your left shoulder, try to see your toes. Think about bringing yourselves to center, and then try the second side. Bring yourselves to center. And then the option here is to come higher. So if you wanted to remove the elbows from the ground, you could think about lifting up into seal's pose. Now it really depends on how your back feels today. You can make this much softer by having those hands further away so that the length creates a softer bend, and the closer those hands are towards you, the more intense the bend is going to be. Now what we want to avoid is a pinching in the lower back. We're trying to lengthen the entirety of the front body here, so it's much better for you to find a pose that feels a comfortable stretch rather than just a super deep bend in the lower back. Lift the chest, lift the gaze, 2 more breaths. And then nice and slow, glide your way back down onto the forearms, and then adjust, hands back underneath shoulders, tuck toes. Without the knees, if you can here, use the support from the palms, from the feet, pressing up, and then hips high. Try get the feet hip distance if they're not already, and get those heels a pad, stretching out through the backs of the legs. Slow your breath down, relax your head. And then when you're ready, make sure your downward dog feels comfortable. So if it's quite long or too short, adjust. And we're going to float forwards and back. So on the inhale, roll to plank. Keep those hips in line with the rest of the body. And then as you exhale, hips go high, heels press down. As you inhale, float forward, find plank, wrists and shoulders stack. As you exhale, float back. Try and make it fluid. Last one, inhale, roll the spine. Exhale, press. Now this time we roll onto all fours, so bring the weight forward to plank, lower those knees down. Set yourselves up, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. We're going to think about taking the weight to your right knee, and we're going to lift the left. We're going to draw the left heel towards the bum and then start to create a circular motion with that left knee, which will transfer into the hip and the pelvis. So we're just opening up, a little bit of mobility. And then change the direction. You decide the size of your circles here. And then when you're ready, we're going to extend that left leg, flex the left foot. We're going to think about turning the toes out to the left. So I don't know if you can see my foot's rotated to the side. And then I'm going to bring that leg all the way around. I want you to keep the heel as high as you can, nice and active here as you bring that leg forward and sweep it back. Keep the toes out to the side, 2 more. Bring the leg round, take a breath in. Bring it back. Last one, breathe in. Breathe out. Now this time bring the leg forward and we're going to place it down. So you breathe in, sweep it forward, get that foot all the way down, and then breathe out and adjust. So I want you to think about the foot being out to the side rather than on a tightrope, much wider, finding a little bit of length down the left leg, grounded through the right. Now we're going to find a variation on a hamstring stretch. So you might need to come in a touch, but still thinking about keeping distance between those legs, flexing through the foot, pressing back. So notice your pelvis here. If you're really rounded through the spine, you'll be taking a lot of the stretch away. If you press your belly towards your thigh, you're going to engage the top of the leg and start to feel that length all the way down the back of the left leg. If you wanted to add more stretch, totally optional. You could ground down through the right hand, have a little bit of a rotation here as that left hand reaches either to the left hip or up towards the ceiling. Nice and gently float it down. Adjust, one hand either side. We're going to rock forwards and back into a hip and hamstring stretch. So we're thinking about sinking forward, hip flexor, stretching out of the back, and then hamstring stretch to extend. If this is too low, feel free to be higher. This whole sequence can be done with more of a lift through the chest. And then regardless of where you are, we're going to lift the chest. So let's come forward into our lunge and then shorten your lunge just a touch. So think about the foot being a little bit closer, maybe 2 foot away, so that you can lift yourself up. Hands come onto the forearm. The tailbone's going to tuck under. So we tilt the pelvis, we lengthen the spine. We're trying to find a hip flexor stretch here. So I want you to tilt the pelvis and then stay nice and tall. Now already you might be able to feel that stretch. If you can't, sink it forward just a tiny touch. You won't need to go too far in order to feel the stretch. And then I have a few options for you. First option is to stay here. Second option is to add a quad stretch. So if you wanted to lift the heel, draw the heel towards the bum, maybe lengthen that distance between the feet and sink the pelvis forward just a touch. Again, you shouldn't need to go too far in order to engage that quad. Hold and breathe, pause it there. And then nice and slow release. Float the hands down, tuck the back toes. We're going to take it to downward dog. So if you extend the back knee, lift the hips and then give those heels a pad. Have a little work through the legs, shake it out. And then grounding down through the feet. Inhale, float forward, find all fours. Exhale, set yourselves up, hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Let's go for the second side. This time thinking about taking the weight to the left. Right heel comes towards the bum, right knee lifts off the floor, and we draw those circles through the hips. Check in, nice and slow, no rush. You decide the size of your circle, so much smaller will be softer, bigger will be more of a rotation through the pelvis. And we'll try that in both directions. And then when you're ready, let's think about extending. Leg goes long, foot flexes. We turn the toes to the side. Take a breath in, bring that leg round, keep the heel high. Breath out, bring it back. Breathing in, bring it round. Breathing out, take it back. Last one, breathe in. And breathe out. Now this time it comes down. Breathe in, swing it forward, let it land. Breathe out, hold it there. Now again, just notice that distance. Avoid a tightrope. We want to be wide. Flex the foot, lift the toes. Notice the belly here. Press the belly forward towards the thigh. Try to avoid that rounding through the spine. As I said before, if you need to be higher, be higher. You can still get a really good stretch without the hands being on the floor. Maybe take the twist if you did on the other side, left hand down, right hand either on the right hip or reaching all the way up. Hold it there. And then soften, float it down. Hands come to the inside, lower through the foot. We're going to sink it forward and back again. Option to have hands on thigh here. And then the next time you're forward in a lunge, we're going to shorten the distance, so maybe step that foot back a bit. Grounding down fully through the foot, walk your hands up onto your thigh, lift your chest, tilt the tailbone under, pelvic tilt. Long spine, maybe this is enough of a stretch, maybe holding here. And if you did on the other side, option to add that quad stretch. So staying long, heel to bum, and then maybe thinking about bringing it further forward. And then release. Float the back foot down, bring the hands down, tuck the toes, downward dog, lift all the way up and back, give those heels a pad. And then when you're ready, shift your gaze towards your hands, soften your knees. Inhale, step or hop, take the feet to the top of the mat. Exhale, forward fold. Legs can be bent here, belly rests on the thighs, head is heavy. And just the same as before, soften through the neck, turn the head from side to side. And then gently bend the knees, head back to still, uncurl. Take your time unraveling all the way up to a stand. When you're up, check in, head, neck, shoulders, half circles through the head. And then let's shake it out. So we stand tall, we step the feet wide, we soften the knees, give the arms a swing. Rotation through the spine, knees are soft. And then gently coming all the way back to still. Okay, when you're ready, step your feet together. We're going to ground down through your right leg, take a big step back with your left. Let's go maybe 2 or 3 foot. And instead of being on a tightrope, again, just give yourself some space. Let's go hip distance with those legs. Grounding down, try to keep both legs straight. We're going to go hands on hips. Notice your posture, see if your spine could be any longer. And then I want you to tip forward. You're not going to need to go too far. And I want you to start feeling stretched down the back of the right leg. And maybe the kneecap in the right leg is squeezing up towards the thigh to give you some support here, some structure. Back, stay straight. Notice if your hips are opening or closing. Try to find that neutral. Long line through the spine. Hold it there. And then rise up, lift the chest. Now we're going to get the feet back in line. So let's first of all swing the left foot out. So you want the left foot pointing towards the camera. And then get those heels in line with each other. So you could draw a straight line from one to the other. Same kind of distance here, so maybe 2 free foot, spine is long. You're going to think about lengthening through the chest too and extending through the arms. Keep your hips grounded, so try to avoid popping them to one side. Let's keep them nice and straight. Reach your right arm forward, and then I want you to rest the right hand down on the thigh or on the shin. And the goal here is that you keep length on both sides of the waist. We're going to reach that left hand up towards the ceiling. You could hold it there, or you could think about reaching that left arm overhead. Now if you're just finding this way too much, bend through that right knee and that will give you a little bit more support. In any case, we're trying to lengthen out this left side of the body without losing the right. So if you feel really squished, grow tall, give yourself space, and then rising left arm overhead. Now this is a really good stretch that can be done with the wall. I don't have access to a wall at the moment. I'll give you a quick demo. So imagine pressing into your bottom palm to create that space on the inside, and you could press into a wall on your top palm. And what that enables you to do is find more rotation as you open the chest. Either stretch is good. So you could be with or without the wall. Let's go one more breath. And then nice and slow. Bring it up, take your time, no rush. Good, we're going to turn into the ball of the back foot. Swivel, frame the front foot as you come down, and then lower the back knee. Now take this right foot wider, and we'll drop it down into lizard pose. Hands come to the inside edge. You can have the back foot tucked or untucked, and this might be enough of a stretch for you. If you wanted more, you could start to soften through the elbows, start to lower closer to the ground with the belly. Maybe come onto the forearms or one forearm. We're going to pause there for just a moment. Start to relax the head. Start to slow the breath. And then nice and gently ease your way back up. Step your right leg back. And then lower yourselves down. Come all the way into your belly. When you get there, let's think about placing the chin on the ground and extending those arms out wide, palms flat to the floor. We're going to draw your right heel towards the bum and then engage the pelvis pressing down into the floor and squeeze the glutes to help lift that right knee off the floor. You're going to take your right foot across towards your left hand. So we find a rotation, try ground through the shoulders as you let the foot come across. Now it might not reach the ground, but the goal is that you're drawing it towards the floor, towards that left hand. It's a strong twist through the spine. And then release, float down. Press back to child's pose, hands at shoulder height. Bend through the knees, swing the knees wide. Bum rests towards the heels and the head rests down on the ground. Now if your head doesn't meet, feel free to make a pillow with your hands in order to find you that softness. If the head is on the floor, you could try softly turning your head from side to side to relax tension through the neck. And then nice and slowly, coming to still, lift yourselves up onto all fours, tuck the toes, lift the hips, look towards your hands. Inhale, step or hop, feet to the top of the mat. Exhale, fold. With energy, bend the knees. Inhale, sweep up, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hands to heart. Now we're going to even you out. So lengthen your spine. Stand tall. Weight's going to come to the left. You're going to step your right leg back, 2-3 foot. Lengthen through those legs. Let's go wider so there's a good distance between the two. Notice your pelvis, long spine, hands on hips. Pull the kneecap up towards the thigh in that left leg and lengthen forward. You decide how low to go, it might be different on this side. And then rise up. We're going to turn the right foot to face the back of the room, or maybe adjust so you can see forward. And then I want you to have both those legs nice and straight. Get the heels in line. Keep the legs long. Notice your posture, long spine, arms extend. From where you are, keep the hips grounded. Left arm reaches forward. Left hand rests down on the thigh or comes towards the shin. Right hand reaches up. Now keep space on this inside edge. So if you're falling down, grow taller. The lower you go, the stronger it is for you to hold. Option to bend the knee and rest the forearm on the thigh. In any of those cases, the arms come overhead. Find your breath. If you use the wall on the first side, you could use the wall again on the second side. So pressing that palm in, pressing the bottom hand in order to help you rotate and open and lift. One more breath. Nice and slow, rise up. Release the hands. We're going to turn to face that left leg. So we're on the ball of the back foot, we float down. Lower the back knee. Bring the hands to the inside edge. Walk your left foot slightly wider and then lower the pelvis. Option to have the right foot tucked or untucked, and we begin to sink down. So it could be a slight bend through the elbow, or it could be coming down onto your forearms. Just listen to what's right for your body today. Maybe the head relaxes. Take a few moments, pause and breathe. And then when you're ready, nice and gently, bring yourselves back up. Take the weight back so that you can remove that left leg, lower onto your belly. Place your chin on the ground, extend your arms nice and wide. Draw your left heel towards the bum, lift your left knee off the ground, and then take that rotation. Left foot across towards the right. Pause and breathe, hold it there. Now there's a couple of options with the knees, so the left knee can be where it is, or you can think about opening it up towards the ceiling. Go with which feels more of a stretch for you, or a better stretch for you today. And release. Hands to shoulder height. Take it back, child's pose. Maybe the knees go wide, the belly presses back in between the thighs, forehead rests down towards the ground. Maybe there's some movement through the head, through the neck. And then bring the head back to still. Walk the hands in. And we're going to come over onto our bum. So if you make your way to a seat, let's go right leg forward, left leg back. And we're going to try and make a zigzag with those legs, like an S type shape. Think about 90-degree angle in both legs. Hands come behind, fingers point towards the bum. And we're just going to go for some movement from side to side. So a little bit of mobility here. And then if it feels okay too, maybe you could try without hands. So you could think about adding a bit of a rotation. Spine is long. Think about finding that movement and twisting to face towards the leg. And then the next time you're facing that right leg, float the hands down, one hand either side of the thigh. We're going to forward fold. So just check you've still got that 90. Think about the belly coming forward towards the thigh. Think about walking yourselves further forward, maybe coming onto forearms, and then relaxing the head down. So you want the belly to rest on top of the thigh. And we'll pause it there. Two more breaths. And then nice and slow, lift your chest back up. We're going to walk those hands more towards the center. And again, fold it down. Come onto the forearms, maybe close the eyes, relax the head. So now think about your chest coming down to that gap between the hips. Maybe your head dropping down towards your toes. And then nice and slow, rise up. And we're going to swap sides. So let's transition. Adjust to a 90 angle in that left leg. Turn your belly to face towards the left. And then we're going to walk the hands one either side, belly towards the thigh. Ease your way down. Maybe on the forearms. Maybe lower. Belly rests towards thigh, forehead rests towards the ground. And then nice and slow, walk your way up. Walk those hands more to the centre. Think about folding now in between that gap, head dropping down towards the toes. You decide how low to go, it might be different on this side. One more breath. And then nice and slow, uncurl. Bring both legs forward. Come all the way down onto your back. Take your feet as wide as your mat, let those arms go wide. And we're going to let the knees fall from side to side, windscreen wiper the legs. Same kind of movement we just did seated. And then gradually find your way back to still. Heels come nice and close towards the bum, feet hip distance. Grounding down. Any discomfort in the feet here, please feel free to adjust. Let's place the palms alongside the thighs, palms flat to the floor. Start to initiate a pelvic tilt. So you press the lower back into the ground, use those abdominals to help you find that flat line through the spine, and then initiate a tilt as the hips start to lift up towards the ceiling. Squeeze the glutes, press through the feet. Any discomfort in the knees, please adjust. And then super slow, just like we do in cat-cow, roll your way up the spine. Think about moving one vertebrae at a time as you ease your chest up nice and high. Now think about grounding through the shoulders, really pressing through the feet. Maybe you interlace the fingers by the bum and try walk those shoulders deeper underneath. You're going to lift, lengthen. Keep your neck in neutral here. It's important because we've got weight coming through the neck. So just maintaining that heaviness through the head, through the shoulders, through the feet. You decide how high to press. Trying to press down through the palms. So if you've interlaced the fingers, really ground them down. 2 more breaths. And then nice and slow, uncurl just as slowly as you came in. Start that pelvic tilt, free the hands. Bum should be the last thing to meet the ground. And then when you're at the bottom, knees in towards the belly. Draw big circles with those knees, soften that lower back. And then from where you are, let's take a spinal twist. So we'll go 90-degree angle through the legs. Let the knees fall across to the right. Grounding down through the shoulders, arms are out wide. And then let your gaze shift to the left. Head comes to center. Swap sides. Come all the way back through the middle. Across to the left. Gaze to the right. Nice and slow, head to center, knees to center. Rock yourselves up to a sit. Seated, however, is comfortable for you. Check in with the head, the neck, the shoulders. And then we say namaste. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.